Welcome back to the ideal OneChunkMan. I'm Source Chunk. Glad to have you back again for another episode. Last episode, we made a ton of progress working towards our goal of getting things all prepped for Lost City. In this episode, if you've seen the title, you know what we're doing. We're doing Lost City. So let's get right into the clips and get that Dragon Longsword. As a reminder of our current route, we have been working towards getting a better way to grind 50 smithing out. Last episode we went across Saya to unlock a better iron mine, a rune pickaxe, and we worked on a way to get a rune axe as well as yew trees and flax to make yew longbows. This episode we need to work on getting access to nature runes to alch those, and as well as nature runes for superheating that iron ore for smithing. Then we'll be unlocking the Mithril rock afterwards, and from there, who knows. So let's hop into it. Alright, well you saw at the end of last episode I have been cutting yew trees, and that is for making yew longbows, remember, that we're going to be alching. So in the meantime, while I was waiting for last episode to be edited and all of that, we were working on those yew longbows still. I was picking flax here over by Host Cities, which is very nice, and then we would string them together and make the longbows. And we've actually got about 3,000 of them, which is, I think, way more than we need for the amount of money that we need for the nature runes, you know. But, I mean, it's nice. I'll definitely use the money at some point, so why not? But yeah, so let's go ahead and unlock that source of nature runes, and then we can get going on alching all these. So our first chunk for this episode will be the Wizard's Tower chunk, of course. It's the only chunk that we need left for Rune Mysteries, and therefore our nature rune supply. So we got going right down to that chunk. In this chunk we have two quests we need to complete. The first we did was Imp Catcher, and that was easy enough because we already had the beads left over from our first chunk grind killing imps. So it was easy enough to just turn those in and quest complete for a nice upgrade in an amulet. And then of course the other quest we had to do was Rune Mysteries, which we could not complete after starting in the first chunk. So we went ahead and completed that, got an air talisman and access to rune crafting, which can be scary, but as we don't have the air altar unlocked, we do not need to worry about that quite yet. What we do get out of it though is we will get a source of Ali's runes from the Rogue Trader mini quest. So let's go ahead over there and do that mini quest, and then we'll go ahead and buy some nature runes. So the main quest itself is actually super easy, but at the end of the mini quest you have to open up this box of runes, which requires you to do like a Sudoku type thing. And I actually quite like Sudokus. I used to do a bunch of them when I was younger in middle school and high school, but yeah, so this wasn't too bad. However, after I finished it, I didn't press the open casket button. I just closed it like I thought it was like a clue scroll, you know, when you have to do those puzzles and you can just close out of it and it completes. So yeah, I had to do another one, but that's fine. I went ahead and did it, and we're all good. So that is mini quest complete, and we can now access the rune shop at Ali Morsane's store. After buying enough nature runes to alch all these, we're just about to get 75 magic. There we go. A nice even, or I don't know, nice level, whatever. Shouldn't be this high, but last episode contributed a lot to that, so that's perfectly fine. But yeah, let me get to finish alching these, and then we'll go ahead and buy a bunch for the superheating now that we have money generated from the profit margins. Alright, I got a couple left here, but we're basically done. It's going to be about 1.6 mil, which is quite good, honestly. I mean, we definitely don't need this much money at all, but it's going to be great to have this money going forward, and I can always spend it on other stuff or more nature runes to make more money going forward. So very happy with this. Didn't cost me too much time since I was kind of AFKing anyway, so chopping yew trees and fletching yew logs are both very AFK activities that I do anyway, but no worries there. So yeah, that's everything alched. I guess I'll go ahead and buy a bunch of nature runes for superheating now. So I've actually got a bunch of iron ore in the bank already, just from, I think, going to level 40 mining, or 41 mining for the rune pickaxe last episode. I got a bunch from just the Varrock mine, so I actually have a bunch in the bank already, so I'm going to go ahead and superheat that. I think I have like 800 or 900, and then from there I'll need to mine like another 1,000 or so to get, I think, 50 smithing. I think that's what I need for it. So, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and do this. It's not going to be as enjoyable as alching since you can't note the ore. It has to be unnoted in your inventory. You have to go through it one by one. Maybe there's a way I can figure out how to make this easier, but yeah, it's just going to be a little bit annoying. But that's alright, though. It's going to be pretty good XP, to be honest. Okay, so I figured out a way to make superheating more AFK, like I was complaining about last clip, so I'm just messing around with this, not really actually doing the superheating itself, but so I filled this inventory with a bunch of random runes it might look like and some iron ore, but look what this does. It fills up my spellbook in a certain way. If I have these filters on, and you can filter this to basically filter out stuff that you don't need, I can put superheat close to the very bottom of my inventory, and if I click just the edge of it, right there, it actually goes to that very last ore, and I can just basically spam click back and forth, or I can time it, but it's very nice actually, and it means that I don't actually have to pay attention while I'm doing this, so I can look away and just be on another screen watching a video or something and have this in the background. Sure, it's not as much per inventory, you know, I could do like 27 or whatever per inventory otherwise, but hey, quite happy with this. Hey. Hey. Did you know you could did you know you could you could try to superheat something that you're not allowed to, and it just makes a splash animation? You can spam it real quick like this and it makes a splash animation a bunch. Isn't that pretty cool? Alright, so check it out. We've unlocked the northern part of this mine here with the Mithril rock, which requires us to get 55 mining and 50 smithing for it. But in return, we get these 3 nice iron rocks, which aren't too far from the bank and are in a nice formation like this. So, very happy about it. Let's check out the mining method. This is going to be super sweaty, but basically, I'm going to mine these 3 rocks, and in between, I will superheat item each of them. And yeah, it's a decent amount of effort to do this actually, but it's not terrible. And yeah, I think this is going to be our best method, and it's going to be quite quick, so if I can bear it for a bit, I think I'll do it. I think I could probably kind of casually do it leaning back a bit more if I wanted to, but it wouldn't be as quick, obviously. Alright, so trying out the more relaxed way where I don't superheat and I just kind of mine stuff as I'm going. It's not the best. As you can see, I'm actually mining the rocks too quickly, and by the time I turn back to the first rock after mining all 3, it's actually not respawned yet. I haven't done iron mining in quite a while, and when I did, it was in the mining guild, and I just realized now that I think that the mining guild rocks must have a higher respawn rate, because they definitely didn't do this when I was doing it there. But I guess out here, I won't be able to just lazy mine unless I want to deal with this, so I guess maybe I'll just be superheating for all the way to 50 smithing, just because it makes more sense, and if I need anything else after that, maybe I won't superheat, but it seems like this is probably the method to go down, since these don't spawn fast enough. I'm not actually wasting any time, really, by superheating, so good to know, I guess. Alright, and these last few here should be all that I need for the smithing grind. I'm not 50 smithing yet, obviously, but most of the XP is coming from actually processing the bars themselves, not the superheating, of course. So, if I've calculated correctly, we need exactly this many, or around this many, iron bars to finish the levels, so yeah, we'll have to come back and get some more mining levels, because mining needs to be higher, unfortunately, but this should be enough to go and grab 50 smithing, so let's go ahead and make some iron plate bodies and bang that out real quick. Almost missed it because I went so quickly, but 50 smithing is done and done. Mithril all taken care of for smithing, but we still have that mining left, so gonna go do some mining. Might do some lazy mining, to be honest, with the not superheating, but we'll see. And there is 54 mining. Now, I know you're thinking 55 is the level you need. I know Mithril, I know my Runescape trivia. Now, just hold on. Something that we can do on these accounts, since we just need to complete the skill challenge itself of mining Mithril, we don't actually have to get the level necessarily, is that we can boost. We can boost up levels, and I believe there should be a way to boost by 1 level using a beer, so we're going to go ahead and grab that and mine this, so I'll be right back. I was right, so there's actually a pub over here on one of the chunks that we unlocked on our way over here in Lovakenge that sells a Dwarven Stout, and Dwarven Stouts boost your mining and smithing level by 1. So technically I didn't have to get 50 smithing, I could have gotten 49, but obviously we have way extra iron ore, so it's not a big deal or anything. But yeah, so go ahead and grab one of these and we'll head on back over there, mine Mithril ore and smelt it and be done with this chunk. Alright, so here at the Mithril Rock, if we take a sip of this, we should be able to go ahead and mine it. There we go, perfect, and now we'll go ahead and smith it. I think there's a furnace over here. There we go, Mithril bar smithed, both tasks completed for the chunk, and we are all good to move on to the next one. Excellent. So for our next unlock, we're going to go ahead and unlock the southern sand crabs chunk, which we were really close to from unlocking stuff last episode. We're just going to do this because, well, we need 60 attack for the dragon longsword that we're hopefully going to get by the end of this episode, so we may as well have a nice way to do that. So I figured I'd just do that, and we could talk about our plans going forward while I'm AFKing the sand crabs and all that. So this is going to be my gear for the sand crabs. Not great, but, you know, good weapon and a good shield, that's all you really need, right? And actually there is one task we have to get done here, surprisingly, and it's cutting a diamond. So we actually had this task a while ago from the wise old man, like, mini task that he can assign you, but we had to backlog it because the task wasn't possible in our chunk, but now this returns. We have a new way to get an uncut diamond, and it's a weird one, and some of you may not even think about what it is, but the sand crabs drop caskets, kind of, they're like the ones you can get from fishing, and those have a rare chance of containing a diamond or an uncut diamond when you open them. So that means that we have to get an uncut diamond and cut it. Now luckily we have some uncut diamonds in the bank like I showed at the beginning of the episode. We have from a random event or two, so we can go ahead and take one of those and cut it. We'll still fulfill the skilling challenge. We don't need to get to the drop or anything since we have the level and we've done the task, so it saves us some time, and I think we'd actually be here for quite a long time getting this uncut diamond. So if you don't get one around an event, I definitely recommend, if you're doing an account similar to this, to plan forward and get an uncut diamond in a different way, for sure, because this would probably be quite long to get otherwise, honestly. Alright, so as a quick refresher, our plan for getting into Xanaris was, well, basically we've completed most of it. We just needed to go to Entrana, and then we need to go to the Lombard Swamp or in Xanaris. But the issue is that we didn't want to have to worry about getting a task from Chowdeer once we got to Xanaris and grinding that 70 combat. So our plan was originally to unlock Spria, the Slayer Master in Draenor Village, and get a task there, and then we wouldn't have to worry about the Chowdeer Slayer Master. Now, there is a bit of difficulties and change of plans that I need to talk about now. That difficulty comes with the Lovakite ore that we backlogged last episode. That requires 65 mining and favor in Lovakenge to mine. So we can't get favor yet, although we're very close to doing so. To get favor in Lovakenge, I needed one more Slayer level, basically. Since I have 9 Slayer, getting one more would get us to 10 Slayer and would let me wear a face mask, and that would let me mine the sulfur and therefore get favor, and therefore need to grind out an additional 10 mining levels, which is not that bad, but come on, if this account is anything, it's avoiding grinds that I don't want to do, and I don't want to do that grind, so we're going to route around it the best we can. Now, the issue is that basically any Slayer task is going to get us that one level. I don't think there's going to be any Slayer task that gets us half a level or something at that lower level, so we basically need to get a task on the first try that it's not doable, basically, because if we get a test we're not able to do, we're not required to go out of our chunks to do it or anything. We just can't do it. Once we unlock a chunk to where we can do it, then we have to do it, but until then we're kind of just locked in Slayer, and it gets kind of put on the back burner until we're able to physically do it. So we're going to try to intentionally do that. Most people, it kind of ends up unintentionally getting locked and they eventually unlock it again, but my hope here is that we intentionally do that so that we can use that to our advantage and not get the Slayer level. So, looking at Spria versus Chaldare, they're not great options, which is why this gets a little tricky here. So, Spria, most of the tasks that she assigns I'm eligible for, and that basically just comes down to combat level and quests and Slayer level, and most of the stuff she assigns is like super basic, so you don't require anything for it basically. So I'm eligible for like all but like 5 or 6 of her tasks, and then I'm able to complete like 75% of those in my chunks or something. Like I can't access cave bugs or ghosts or ice fiends or whatever, but like the rest of them I can. So when you work it out, it's not great odds. There is one advantage to having Spria unlocked though, and that is during the quest that unlocks her, we get 30 Slayer points as a reward, which is enough for a skip. So what we could do is we unlock Spria, do the quest, and then we try to get a task, and we have one chance, and that's if we get it right there and we're locked, that's fine. But then if we get a task that we can do, we could technically skip that one, use our 30 points and skip it, and try again, and we get a second try, basically double odds at getting a locked task, which that seems pretty good. And if you work out the weighting of the tasks and everything, it works out to like 45%-ish on getting a locked task on both of those roles, or either one of those roles, I should say. Which is not great, to be honest. I mean, less than 50%. I'd really prefer higher than that. So looking at Chaldare, she's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. So most of her tasks require Slayer level to be assigned. So I'm really only eligible for like 5 tasks because of either Slayer level or quest completion needed or something like that. There are 2 or 3 other tasks that I could get assigned if I raised my combat level or told her to ignore my combat level when assigning tasks to me. So if I just went off of the base 5 that I'm able to be assigned, I'm able to do 3 of those, and that brings us out to like a 43% chance with weightings and everything. And then if I add those 2 other ones that I'd be able to do if I tell her to ignore my level of combat and assign me any task, I think there's 3 out of 7 I could do, and that would work out to like 50 or something percent, maybe 60%, which is better if I do that option, but not great. I'd prefer something like 75% chance-ish, I really don't want to do this grind, and I want to get the best odds possible. So I was looking at other ways that I could make it better odds for me. So looking at maybe, maybe I could do a quest or something that would unlock more potential monsters for me that I'm not able to do. So like I was thinking maybe I could route myself to starting Dragon Slayer and get assigned a dragon task and then not be able to do it because they're, maybe the blue dragons, I don't have access to them or whatever, or an iron dragon, something like that. But I don't think there's a good way for me to route to Dragon Slayer, to be honest, and even then I still have a pretty hard chance. So the other option was looking at other Slayer Masters outside these 2, and unfortunately most of them are bad picks, to be honest. So going through the list, Turiel has the same list as Spria, so there's no point going over there. Cristelia seems really good at first glance. I mean, she only assigns monsters that can be killed in the wilderness, so if we only unlock Edgeville and no wilderness chunks, we'll basically have a 100% chance of task locking us, but unfortunately the Edgeville dungeon, which is in the same chunk as Cristelia, has a 70 mining and smithing grind, so definitely not something that we want to look at. And yeah, so it's basically off the table. Miss Chinna is in Canifis, and to get there we need to complete Priest in Peril, which requires us to unlock chunks that would get us 85 smithing requirement, so off the table again. Vanica is in the Edgeville dungeon of aforementioned Cristelia fame, so no to that. Konar has Hydra underneath her chunk, so has a 95 Slayer grind, and a bunch of other stuff, so that seemed like a bad option. And then Neve, I mean, I don't even know how to get over to Neve, she's so far away. There'd probably be a ton of stuff routing that way, and I don't even know if it's possible to get over there without running into worse stuff, so I think that's probably off the table. And then Duradel requires 50 Slayers, so it seemed like there was no better option than just going Chaldare and sucking it up and hoping I get lucky, but I was doing a bit of theory crafting and talking with some people in the OneChunkMan Discord, and I kind of suggested that maybe I could go to Konar and just, hope for the best as a joke, but thinking about it more, it actually makes a lot of sense. So here are the advantages with Konar. Let's talk about those first. The advantages are that her tasks are area specific, so most Masters will assign you a monster to kill, and you can kill it anywhere in the game. But Konar assigns tasks that are of a Slayer monster and a location. So she'll say, go kill this monster in this dungeon. So go kill fire giants in the Birmingham dungeon. Go kill greater demons in the Catacombs of Koren. Go kill Calphites in the Calphite lair. All that kind of stuff. So it's very beneficial to us as a chunk account because we don't need to avoid every instance of that monster. We would just need to avoid that one dungeon, basically. And that makes things a lot easier to avoid. We don't have to black out like half the chunks of the map because there's a greater demon on it, we'd be able to just not worry about one chunk in specific. So that's really good. The downside, of course, is that there is a 95 Slayer grind of the Hydra and Alchemical Hydra right underneath in that chunk that she is, so that'd be very risky. However, it might be worth the risk because if we get a task that we can't do and we just avoid that task for a really long time, then we're basically never going to be able to get the requirements to kill Hydra. Now, if we ever unlock Slayer after getting a task, and we'll have to grind it to 95 basically, but it's something that we can hold off like almost indefinitely if we get a dungeon that's way out of the way, especially. So, I mean, looking at these tasks, a lot of them are in places that I don't even want to go anyway. Going to the Catacombs of Koren, I've already kind of routed around that because I don't want to go there. Same thing with Brimhaven Dungeon, I have no reason to go there really, or the Calphite Lair, no reason that I'd want to go to the Calphite Queen or anything. So these are all things that I honestly don't really want to go to anyway, so if I get one of those, it'll be very nice to route around. And if we work out the odds on the task, we can do about, I think, 30 different possibilities of monster and dungeon things, and we're able to do like, I don't know, I think it's like 4 or 5 of them out of 30, and so with the weightings, our odds are actually just around 80% chance of getting a task that locks us, which is way better than all the other options. High risk, high reward, but I think it's the best way we have going forward, honestly, and that's the plan right now. So let's hop back into the game and see how I've been AFKing at Sand Crabs, but otherwise, plan is getting 75 combat, going to Konar, and trying our best, because I don't think there's a better option. Alright, back to Sand Crabs. We've been here for a bit, and we're going to grab 50 attack, and that actually gets us 50, 50, 50 attack, strength, and defense. And on top of that, 70 combat, which is what we'd need if we were just going to the level 4 Childier. But now that we've talked about it, you know that we're going to 75 for Konar, so 5 more combat levels to go. I think we'll probably get up to around 60 attack and 60 strength, maybe like 55 or something like that defense, so I'll be back when we hit that. Alright, here is 56 defense. We've been here for quite a long time now. Been a nice AFK session, but that is 75 combat with 60 attack, 60 strength, and 56 defense all taken care of. Great, so I think we're good to move on to the next chunk now. Oh, before I move straight off to the next chunk, I actually want to open the caskets that I got from killing these sand crabs. So I killed about like 2,300 sand crabs, and I got 11 caskets. I actually missed 2 of them because I was AFKing too much apparently, so we have 9 to open. And just for the sake of showing that these diamonds from caskets are pretty rare, I thought I'd open these and show you that we're probably not going to get a diamond here, so we'd be here for quite a while opening caskets if we were required to stay here until we got an uncut diamond. So luckily we've planned ahead and made sure we didn't unlock this before we got one from a random event. So definitely important to look out for little things like this. So yeah, now we're good. Let's go to Konar. Just before we unlock our new chunk, I actually just discovered something that I almost completely skipped over, and that would have been definitely a tricky situation to cover for the video. So, plan was to go to Konar, but there is a couple things that we can do while we're in the Konar chunk besides getting the Slayer task, which is obviously the main event. There are greater demons in the dungeon below, and they don't require a Slayer level to kill, obviously. So there are a couple drops we'd need from greater demons there, and if you're not familiar with the Karum Slayer dungeon, which is that dungeon in there in that chunk, for most of the dungeon you need to have like these boots on to prevent your feet from catching fire, I guess. You take constant damage if you're not wearing the boots, and it's pretty high damage. I kind of totally forgot about this when I was planning things out, and if we went to that chunk, we'd have to tread this line very carefully on, well, is it possible to actually kill these greater demons if I'm taking constant damage, or do I have to backlog them until I can get the boots, or... I mean, I can kill them technically, but like I have to be eating constantly, so I can't actually kill them. Now, luckily, I realized this just in time before I actually picked the next chunk and went to it. Luckily, I was very relaxed that night, and then next morning I realized it. So we actually have another way to get to Greater Demons on a different place that'll be better than this horrible situation. So, and it's actually on our path. In the Entrana dungeon, which we need to go to anyway for the Lost City quest, there are greater demons in there. Now, unfortunately, we can't kill them casually because we can't bring our normal gear in there. We'll have to like auto cast magic, or sorry, manual cast magic at them, but that's certainly better than having to deal with this whole boot situation. So, new plan, slightly amended. Instead of going to Konar and then doing Lost City, we're going to do the Entrana portion of Lost City, then go Konar, then finish Lost City. Alright, so now that we've cleared things up, luckily right before I picked my chunk, we can actually go off to Entrana first. So we got off the boat onto the new land of Entrana, then we went down to the dungeon. The first thing we had to do was, well, I got a bronze axe from zombies because while we're here we need to do the Lost City quest, or at least the portion of it that we can do on the island, so bronze axe needs to be obtained from these guys, and we went ahead and grabbed that. And then from there we had to just pretty easily safe spot this tree spirit here, so that was easy enough. And then we chopped from the tree and got some Draymond branches, so we're just going to cut one of these into a Draymond staff, and then we'll be good to go for this chunk for Lost City. From there, I was killing the greater demons, just had to manually cast them because I was an idiot and made a U short bow when I don't have the range level for a U short bow yet to actually use it. So a little dumb there, but not too big a deal. Manual casting is not too bad. And we actually got quite lucky here with the rune full helm drop, which is the rare drop, and we got it in 13 kills instead of 128. So making a comeback on the rune armor luck from last episode, so very happy about that. And then not too long after, we get the more common drop, the tuna. Still under drop rate again, and amazing. Definitely happy about this though, because manual casting is not AFK at all. So 31 kills for the tuna, and we're all done with the stuff that we need from here. So now we just need to go ahead and process the tuna in cooking, and then we'll be all done. So let's go hop in to do some cooking. We're back to my favorite fishing and cooking spot over on Zaya. Been here for a couple days just chilling, and we're gonna go ahead and grab 70 cooking. Perfect. Now we can make that Admiral Pie whenever we're ready, and may as well go do it now and we'll complete the chunk. Hopefully we don't burn because we only have one tuna. Alright, we got my tuna here. Let's go ahead and add it to the pie and add this potato then. Guess we need some stuffing for it, so raw Admiral Pie is ready to go. Nice salmon and tuna sticking out the edge there, so let's go over to our favorite range here that we used to make that pizza in the other episode, and hopefully this doesn't burn. Oh, thank God. Alright, so Admiral Pie all obtained, 70 cooking off the list, and now, finally, we're ready to go to Konar and test our luck. To get to Konar, we had to go through a couple of basic empty chunks. First we go west to the battlefield chunk here, nothing important at all. Then again to the west to this lake here, again nothing important. And from there we can then go north to the Mount Cruel chunk and unlock Konar. Okay, we're finally here at Konar, and the first thing we're going to do before we get a task is talk to her, because we need to set the difficulty of our challenges up, so that we don't have our combat level taken into account. We actually have a better chance this way, like I explained, so we're going to tell her to stop checking our combat level, so that's all good, and then we can go ahead and grab a task from her if we're ready. Oh, okay. That is one we cannot do. Black demons in the Brimhaven dungeon, so this is a great plan. I'm very happy with this plan. So now we basically just need to steer clear of the Brimhaven dungeon, which I didn't want to go to anyway. I mean, come on, steel dragons? Like, I don't want to go anywhere near there, so definitely not upset about having to avoid that dungeon. Don't think I need too many things on that side of the map anyway, so quite happy about that, if we're being perfectly honest. Yeah. Yeah, so we're all good to go then. I think we have a couple things to finish up in this area, but our bet has paid off. Super happy about that. Alright, we have to do two quick things while we're here. So first thing we have to do is we mine this iron here that's sticking just out the edge into our chunk for a diary task. And then over here in the weapon shop we have to grab a adamant warhammer and wield it because it has a 30 strength requirement. Apparently that's the highest we've had up to this point, so obviously we super outclassed that, but we do have to actually buy it and equip it for the task to be complete. So that is done, and we're now all fully done the stuff for this area, and we can move on to the final chunk for this episode, and that is grabbing Lost City completion and the Dragon Longsword. Let's do it. Alright, we're down in the Lumbridge Swamp, back where it began, basically. We're only one chunk away from where we started this whole grind, so we can squeeze in the edge right here and hop into the shack, and there we go. Inside, with our Draymond staff, Lost City is complete, and we have access to Xanaris. Ooh, finally! Oh, it took 7 episodes, but we are here. Let's go ahead and, well, come on. Let's go get our dragon weapon. Alright, we have a cut diamond, which you need to get into this market area over here. I'm sure most people know that, but it's definitely one of the weirder places in the game. It requires you to have an entrance fee, basically, and it's a weird one at that, but either way. Let's go ahead and talk to Juquette here and grab ourselves a dragon longsword, and while we're here we may as well grab a dragon dagger too. Gonna be a great spec weapon. And go ahead and equip our brand new weapon. It looks so good. I'm super happy to have completed this. It's only upwards from here. So excited. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this episode. Good stuff this episode. Next episode, watch out, we're gonna get even more upgrades to our gear. I'm super excited for it. I'm looking forward to you guys in the comments letting me know what you think I'll be upgrading to next. But it's some big stuff, so don't you worry. Thank you so much for watching, though. I'd like to thank my patrons like I do every episode, JLo, Chagahad, and Hapri. Thank you so much. You make this possible. If you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/sourceschunk. I'd appreciate it a lot. Anyway, until next episode, I'll see you later, and thanks for watching.